Today I'm going to be reviewing Digimon Adventure Tri, and I've got to admit I'm really excited to see the Digidestined back. Digidestined, there we go. I'm going to say it like that constantly. I'm really excited because I love Digimon, and it was when Digimon Tamers was my favourite, and then after that CITV, a channel over here in the UK, just didn't air any more episodes after that, so I was kind of gutted. But the internet wasn't as big and popular back then, so I couldn't watch full episodes anywhere. So yeah, let's jump straight into a review of Digimon Adventure Tri. We open up with a kind of narration saying that when the world was created, this Digimon, or this like existence, was creating a shadow world, and you see this kind of egg, and you just see this little black thing just drop straight into like this egg, and it corrupts and it goes whoa, and this apparently is a shadow of the real world. The next shot is of a bedroom, and then we find out that it's Tai's bedroom, and he's sleeping and his alarm goes off. And as this continues on, you just see like the fall of like season 2's Digimon, like Davis and everyone like that. They just looks like they're being attacked, or they're just going oh, and I guess this would be kind of addressed, but yeah, they just seem to be just being picked off one by one as it goes through. Cory walks in and she's like saying, come on, you've got to get up, you know, you've got to make sure that you're okay, you're gonna be late for soccer practice, so come on. And Tai's like like we all are in the morning. He's like, no, I don't want to get up. As Tai just like cheeses it, he runs out the apartment, he runs and gets on his bike. Then we see a montage of Tai just cheesing it on his way to soccer practice, and everyone's like kind of playing with the phones going, huh? Why is this not working? Within that montage of Tai going there, so far we just hear like I'm guessing it's like the Japanese intro, which was really, really cool. We then see Tai playing soccer and having a drink, and he's like, whew, okay, you know, I'm up for another round, and you can see that he's got a ton of energy, but now he's like, come on, you know, we gotta go. And everyone else is like, nah, so tired, I just want a break, you know, can we not have a break? Let's do that. And then Cory comes in and says, here you go, here's your lunch. And everyone's like, yeah, we're energized, woo, come on. I'm like, that actually made me laugh. I have got to admit that made me giggle, because I always see it in like animes where the like as soon as the girl walks in, the guy's like, yeah, we're buff, we're full of energy, we can do it. And it's just so that they can date them, and she's like, okay, yeah, you go for it. At this point then, when Cory is turning around saying, oh, you know, you owe me for this, you know, you can buy me this like super lunch thing, which if I liked ice cream and all that, I would possibly go, yeah, that sounds really good. But Tai's like, yeah, no problem, it's absolutely fine. As I said in the Pokemon review, I really like movies when they have this like really kick-ass music of like the intro or something very similar to it. And Digimon delivers on this. It has like the Digimon, and it carries on like the English one, and I really like dug it. I really wish it carried on for a little bit longer than what it did in this anime. And I'm like, oh, just make some really cool stuff. More please, I need this in my life. We switch to a shot where Matt and Sora are talking, and I didn't really recognize Matt whatsoever. And Matt's asking if Sora would like to come to the concert that he's got on, which is on a Sunday. As Tai comes in and starts like asking what's up, a teacher comes up to Tai and says, oh, you know, have you thought about your future? You know, you're the only one that hasn't handed in their sheet, and you need to do this. And Tai's like, yeah, cool, I'll get round to it, you know, I'll fill it in, I'll make sure it gets to you. The teacher also says, look, you've got to come to my office later so we can talk about this. And when Tai is like, yeah, cool, whatever, the teacher leaves, and Matt and Sora start kind of lecturing him on what he wants to do for his future. He's the only one who hasn't done it, and it's like, come on, you know, you really need to pull your finger out, and you really need to get this sorted. Throughout this entire film, you see really short shots, which kind of irritates me slightly, because they're just really out of place. But in this shot, it's just outside, there's lightning just like going everywhere across the sky, and people are kind of going like, huh, what's up? But they're kind of really talking about their phones and their kind of their tech, basically. We're back in the school, and Tai is eating food. It's this kind of really big bowl thing, and it looks really nice, to be honest. Matt joins him and says, hey, you coming to this concert on Sunday? And Tai's like, oh man, sorry, I've got a football match or soccer match. I'm going to call it football. If you're from the UK, it's football, it's soccer in America, so we'll try and do it. So if I say it wrong, then you know what I mean. Ty asks about the original band that Matt was in, and Matt says, no, we broke up and we formed a new band. We now switch to a scene where we don't see the transition, so I kind of, at first, when I was watching and listening, I kind of thought that they were still talking in the cafeteria, but Ty is now in the teacher's office, and they're talking about like the future. What does Ty want to do with his life? And Ty's like, oh, I don't know, I just want to be with my friends. You know, that's all, I want to spend time with my friends, and there's a friend that I can't have or I can't see anymore, or it's really hard to get to where he is. And the teacher's like, oh no, I can understand, maybe you should try kind of like travel, maybe that's the thing that you need to do, so you can travel the world, you can do what you want, and then you can see your friend, because that would be a lot easier. At this point, Ty is kind of holding onto the Digivice, and you kind of know, oh, he's talking about Agumon. You can't go see Agumon because apparently it was all cut off. Oh no! It then cuts to a quick scene of a Digimon appearing in the real world, and it doesn't look normal. It looks like a normal Digimon, but it's kind of glitching out a lot, and you kind of wonder why. And as this Digimon just flies off, you see this guy going, oh, why can't I get a phone signal? And you're like, okay, we get this, we get the fact that if there's a Digimon in the area, or if it's not right, or the phone signal goes off, or your tech doesn't work, or it glitches. We're now back at the school, and Ty is kicking a ball in this kind of net thing so it doesn't go anywhere, and I'm guessing it's sort of a little bit of practice. Now he meets Izzy, he spots him and he goes over, and they start talking about the football match. Izzy says that he can't go because he has a previous engagement with his family, because it's their his mum and dad's wedding anniversary, and they always spend time together. But he says, oh, well, you know, we could ask Mimi. Mimi might be able to come. I think that would be really cool. And we know that Mimi is in New York, and Izzy sends a message and goes like, hey, do you want to come to football match or whatnot? And then Mimi's like, hells yeah! And it's like, oh, okay. Izzy starts talking about the cost of what it is, and it's not just like little bits, it's like, okay, well, you know, by the time you want to hear, she wants a direct flight, probably business class or first class, you know, she's gonna need this, has a load of luggage, so all of this is gonna be just over $1,000 or more. And Ty's like, oh my god, yeah, okay. Oh, so Mimi is pretty much booking a flight that night so she can arrive back with all the others. Cory and TK now are walking home. They're starting to talk about Matt's band. They're talking about how they can't make both, so they can't go to the football match, but they can go to Matt's band. And Cory's like, okay, well, you know, who are you taking? You know, are you taking a friend? And he goes, yeah, I'm taking a friend. And it's like, oh, is it a girlfriend? And he's like, no, it's not like that. And Cory just starts teasing him. Now, I kind of thought that in the second season, those two were kind of dating, or was it Cory and Davis? But I don't know, I kind of thought TK and Cory would have had more of a bond, etc, you know. So at this point, TK goes like, oh, I've got to go, and a Digimon flies over, a gust of wind. Cory's like, no, I can't do this, you know, and she's got her eyes closed, but we see the Digimon go back into the digital world through a digital portal. So now we switch to Joe. Joe is sat in a room, and he's getting his test results, or exam results, or his game results, basically, and he finds out that he hasn't passed, like, the exam, and that he needs to retake it. At this point, we find out that he messages Matt, says, hey Matt, sorry, can't make it because of this, so it's gonna have to be, like, you know, next time, and he's gonna be studying for the rest of his life over the course of the weekends. And I'm kind of thinking, really? I know you're joking, but every time I see an anime like this, it's like, oh, yeah, I have to study for the rest of my life. It's like, no, just study really well, hardcore that shit, boom, and you'll be fine. But no, Joe is kind of like a bit bummed out about it. We then kind of switch to a kind of an organization inside where this woman is talking to her superior, or this guy, and he's like saying like, yeah, you know, are you detecting anything? And she's like, yeah, I've seen it. And then suddenly they get cut off, and it's like, oh, okay, so now the digital world is like kind of impacting the real world, and it's kind of messing things up. Back at Cory and Ty's place, they start talking about the football game. Cory is saying, I can't actually now make it because I've got a friend's birthday and I planned that first. And Ty's like, no, it's fine. And I'm kind of thinking at this point, when it comes to a football match, is it a really important one where it's like, okay, I'm going to get a full scholarship, it's going to be the best match, it's the best thing in the entire world? Or is it just like a kind of random game that you'd get on a Sunday afternoon where it doesn't really matter? But at this point, Tai is really kind of upset. He's angry in a way, but he's not showing it. And Kari's like, no, tell me, I can understand if you're going to be upset, but are you going to be okay? And Tai kind of like really dismisses this. Then all of a sudden she brings up the whole point of the news, everything that's going on, and Tai's like, okay, whatever. We now switch to Tai being downstairs, and he sends a text message to Sora saying, hey, are you going to Matt's gig, or are you free? And Sora replies, yeah, well, I kind of can do both. And at this point, it's like, Tai's like, no, it's okay, you don't have to. He then deletes the message, and you kind of think, oh, okay, well, you know, you really want her there anyway. Now, this is another part of the film that kind of, like, made me giggle. So, Tai takes his bike out, and he's heading off to some place. And then all of a sudden, these removal men go like, hey, you okay there? Can you get by? You know, have you got enough room? And I'm like, if you look at the space between it, you can do it. I don't know, it just made me giggle because it's like, would they have moved? But there was like plenty of space for Tai to kind of like go there and be okay with it. And we're introduced to a new character. She doesn't say much, we don't get a name just yet, but it kind of moves on and be like, okay, that's fine. You know, we see her, we know that she's going to be a big part of the film later on. Sora is now bitching about what's going on. She's really frustrated about how the match and the gig are on the same day, and she kind of wants to go to both. First of all, she says like, well, you know, if I leave here, I have to be there. If I can leave the match early, then I'll be at the gig early, blah, 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 all this stuff. And then she goes, no, I'm not gonna go, I'm gonna leave it. And then she goes like, no, I have to get ready. And then we see more kind of glitches happening all over the place, and it's like, oh, okay, so again, we're still with this, and it's not moving on too quickly. But there's more glitches, her clock goes off, and she says like, this is my lucky number, etc, etc. At this point, she leaves her room and comes back in because she's forgotten her phone. Izzy is in a French restaurant with his parents, and they start ordering food. At this point, Izzy gets a phone call from Sora, kind of like wanting to talk about what's going on. And you kind of think that rather than lying and saying, oh, I'm actually in the computer lab, he would have said, oh, I'm really sorry, I can't talk right now, or is it something really quick? I'm out with my parents at a French restaurant. And at that point, he's ordering in French, and the waiter's just standing there, and you kind of think he'd be like, okay, I'll come back in a few minutes, you know, just to see, you know, to give you guys enough time, you know, rather than just standing there. And Izzy's ordering in French. And Sora's like, are you speaking French? Or, you know, is that French? And he's like, oh no, the lines must be crossed. It's like, really? Okay. Right, so they carry on, and then Sora's like, no, I'll ring you back, because Izzy just keeps talking French, ordering his food, and it looks like Izzy's bummed out. If it was me, I would have turned around and said, really sorry, Sora, I'm out having a meal with my family, I'll give you a ring later, or I'll just step outside and make sure you have my attention for a few minutes. But no, it's just like, Izzy feels really bad because he can't do that. Now we have TK and Matt talking about the gig, getting ready. TK is watching Matt tune his guitar, kind of like get sound practice, and says like, everyone's bought tickets and everyone's really excited. And then we cut to another scene! Now, as I was panning down, I thought that Izzy was in this scene as well, because he sat, and I thought, oh, maybe this might be in a bit of a jump, where Izzy's now actually in the library studying or doing stuff. But no, it's Joe. He just sees that his computer messes up. Boom. There we go, another scene. We find out that the Digimon that's been flying about is now going for Tai and finds him. And he, as soon as he does this swoop dive thing, Tai goes, oh my god, and then just cheeses the match. Just says, I've got to go, see you later, and then that's it. So you kind of think, okay, it's a bit of a dick move leaving your friends, but I can understand. You know, you could just say, I'm really important that something's going on, and then just cheese it after him. That's it. That's pretty much it. Digimon is Kuwagamon, and all of a sudden, Tai is still chasing him on his bike. Suddenly, all the news stations are covering this. They see this Digimon, and they don't know what it is. Suddenly, Matt and TK are watching the news channel. TK instantly phones his friend and says, hey, the gig may be cancelled, so yeah, not going to be able to make it. At this point, he hangs up, and Matt starts teasing him a little, but both the Japanese and the English to me is a little bit creepy, because it's like TK turns around and says nothing's going to come in between us, and the Japanese one is like, I can't remember what the Japanese one was. It kind of like made me go, oh, okay, moving on. We now switch to a scene of where this woman is like kind of scared and slow motion dives her child, and then Kuwagamon just flies through, and I kind of thought, really, does that scene need to be in there? So just like Kuwagamon goes in and destroys a lot of like cars and some of the buildings. Again, short clips, and I don't know why, it just switches to Joe again, complaining about his computer being messed up, saying, oh hey, look, you know, this is, it always happens to me, this would happen to me right now, oh, and I'm kind of thinking, why? Why would you have these small clips in? So as Tai is dodging Kuwagamon, all his attacks, all his kind of like lunges and stepping on and stuff like that, he dodges around a bit. Tai's Digivice drops out of his pocket. So the Digivice looks like it's pointing down to a road where Kuwagamon has like tear through, and this will always be in all the flashbacks, and it's like, oh, so it's kind of a plot device for it, but it's kind of annoying at the same time, and I'll kind of explain that at the very end. Tai gets on his bike, like kind of like cycles off, but again kind of falls off. Now his Digivice is still in his hand, and as Kuwagamon is about to attack him again, Agumon comes out of nowhere, and it's like, yes! And I loved it. I thought, yeah, it's the perfect timing. You can see it happening though. You knew it was going to come, and then suddenly, but Agumon's there. So they have a quick reunion, they start talking, and then suddenly Agumon's like, no, I've got to get to work, let's do this. And he Digivolves, and I thought we were going to get the old school Digivolve thing, and I was like, oh, but when I saw this new one, I really liked it. I thought it was awesome. And at this point, Greymon attacks Kuwagamon, and they go on through a massive kind of like fight in the area slightly. Then they go into the digital world, and I really like the digital world look because it was all kind of like black and purples and just different colors. You saw the 011s all over, and I thought, oh, this is awesome. I really liked it. I was wondering if we could get more of this, but then they come out of the digital world. They kind of, I think they still stay in it because you see it's sort of glitching a bit. But then they start fighting in other areas, and then Greymon and Kuwagamon are fighting at the airport. Now this is one of my biggest gripes in the film. It's not dark as in, ooh, dark, it's animated really darkly. Like, it's meant to simulate nighttime, but there are points where I couldn't even see what was happening. I could see like eyes, I could see outlines, but most of it, because it was so dark, I couldn't pick up what was going on. And even when I rewatched it to write the review up, it was still showing that element, and I got really kind of frustrated. I was like, seriously, why don't you just lighten up? We can tell it's at nighttime, but can you not lighten it up so we could do it? And I was so tempted to put the contrast up on my TV just so I could see it, but I thought, no, we're going to let it go through because I'll be playing through it all the time. It'll be really weird. But this is like kind of one of my biggest gripes about the film. Kaori decides to ring Tai and says, look, you need to get to the airport straight away. It's really, really important. And Tai's like, oh, yeah, I can't. He looks at his bike, and then suddenly he has flashbacks. Again, flashbacks to the destruction that's previously just happened, and he's like, yeah, okay, I'll get there whenever, and then just hangs up the phone. All of a sudden, while Tai's kind of reflecting on what's happened very briefly, Tai's teacher turns up, and then says, get in. So Greymon is still fighting Kuwagamon, tearing up the entire airport, and then we switch back to Tai talking to his teacher, asking questions, but nothing getting answered. And you kind of think, oh, this would be the perfect time for a bit of segment to talk about what's going on. When Greymon gets beaten and he is unable to move, Tai rushes in, and as Kuwagamon's attacking, all of a sudden Greymon like blocks the blast, and it's hurt even more. At this point, Tai is like shouting his name, and then looks around and sees the other Digidestined, bar Mimi and Joe. But they're all there with the Digimon, and they're like saying, oh, I don't think you could do this without us, hey? Oh no! And I was like, oh, this is really cool. It'd be epic though if Joe and Mimi were there in that lineup. Mimi is watching the destruction of what's happening at the airport, and she's wondering, like, you know, what's happening, and then she's like, oh, that Tai, I can't get in contact with him. I've flown all this way, and he just doesn't have the decency to turn up. Ooh. Palamon turns around and says that she can't do anything, she can't Digivolve, as all the Digidestined are ready to fight. Two more Kuwagamons just come out of the portal, and then they start fighting. Greymon just de-digivolves back to Agumon. Gobamon then digivolves to Garurumon, and then takes on one of the Kuwagamons. And it's really cool, because it's just really nice seeing this sort of action again. Up next is Biomon, and she turns into Mergemon, and Tentomon turns into Kabuterumon, and they start fighting, and they go over. Patamon then digivolves to one of my favourite Digimon, Angemon, and for a brief second I was like, why is Gatomon digivolving? Now I realise Gatomon is in a champion form, and Gatomon is on Angemon's shoulder. Gomamon turns around and says, do you know what? I'm going to go find Joe. see you later, and just cheeses it. And I kind of thought that was quite funny. He just goes off to find Joe, and I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. Now we have Mimi, while watching, she's approached by the same woman that was in the organization, and then she says, okay, well, I'm going to take you to the person. I'm going to take you straight to the fight already. And it's like, oh, that was quick. How did you know? Are you keeping tracks on all of them and knowing where they are in the precise amount of time? Garurumon has taken down one of the Kawagamons, and then as there's one left, it looks like it's going to attack. Then suddenly this portal opens, and his hand just drags it back in, or destroys him there and then. It looks like it's just pulled back in, but I think it's actually been destroyed. After the battle, they all start talking about what happened, where did they come from, what's been going on. But as they get into a kind of key point, all of a sudden Mimi kind of interrupts and says, hey, I'm here, and then kind of runs over, kind of like talks to them, gives them presents, just typical thing that she would do as she's returned. As they say, like, oh, we have no way of getting home, Mimi's like, well, actually, this person's going to take us all back. She's just waiting over there. As they're kind of in the car, they're all talking about where Gobamon went. Where did he go? Where's Joe? How come Joe wasn't like brought to all the others? This made me laugh, this next scene. Mimi turns to Izzy and says, oh, how come you're so quiet? And Izzy's like, oh, no, nothing, I'm just thinking. And then Mimi says, is it because you're falling in love with me because I'm so hot now? Oh, I laughed, and Izzy just goes, no, it gets really embarrassed. I'm like, that's hilarious, oh my god. That just made me laugh, and this is like I think my second point. I've got like 3 points. This was my second favorite. As they're talking, Mimi says like, oh yeah, you owe me for this, and they're like, whoa, okay. She's like, no, it's cool, my dad was transferred, so this couldn't be a much of a better time. And I'm thinking, I bet you it's that organization that transferred her dad back. But she's like, no, I'm back for good, and everyone's like, oh, that's really cool. Now this scene should have been longer, and I think it would have been absolutely amazing, and I'm going to add to what I think should have happened. So Joe is now studying again, and suddenly there's a knock at the window. When Joe opens the curtains, he sees Gomamon, and he's like, hi! And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. And Joe seems really happy, and he gives him a hug. Now, it then cuts away, and I'm really hating it. If I could extend the scene, I would have put the point where he's hugging him. And when he's hugging him, he just suddenly starts bursting out into tears because he's under so much stress, and that he needed to see Gomamon. That would, to me, would have been absolutely perfect. But it's a really small scene. It pulled at my heartstrings, but then just switches really quickly out, and it kind of ruined it a little bit. We're now back in Tai and Kari's place, and the news is going on saying, like, you know, since these things have come out of nowhere, you all of a sudden see what it's done. It's kind of disrupted a lot of like the public transport. Things are destroying, and it's going to cost the city a lot of time. And Agumon and Gatomon are watching the TV, and everyone's kind of talking about what's going on and how it shouldn't be blamed on the good Digimon, and just how this destruction has just been really dismissive to everything, and it's just been really kind of like crappy, effectively. You now see that the news stations are talking to people and saying like they don't want them coming back. They think it's just really weird, that they don't like it, and you kind of see some like shots of the kind of like exterior of what's been going on, and I kind of thought this would normally happen because of the destruction. People always focus on the bad rather than the good, and the city has been kind of like trashed. Tai meets Matt at his, and they start walking to school. They bump into Mimi and they're like, oh, what are you doing here? And she's like, hi, I'm back. I'm, you know, since I've transferred back, I'm going to the school. I'm in your class, Izzy. And we meet the new character, the one that was at the very beginning of the film, and they're like, oh, what's going on? Again, name isn't really said, and this girl just runs off and she just disappears. At this point, Mimi is flirting a lot more with Izzy and says like, oh, you know, you should be really helpful and you should take me to where my classroom is, because, you know, we're in the same class now, and like other girl, when she's transferred in, she's going to be in Sora's class. I don't know why this wasn't done sooner, but we're introduced to the new character as Miko, M-E-I-K-O, I think. So if I say her name's Miko, I'm sorry, or Mako, it may happen, I don't know. She's very kind of skittish and scared. So when the teacher says, oh, just go sit behind Tai, there we go, she goes like, oh, you know, you can go sit behind Tai. She's like, oh, and I don't know why, or I know why, but it's just kind of like, oh, you kind of think you'd play it cool. So then again, we switch again to outside, and suddenly these two guys are saying, you know, they saw the attack, they wish that the Digimon would have just destroyed each other, and Tai's like, oh, okay, cool, and then all of a sudden Matt just comes out of nowhere, and oh, it's really irritated me about Matt as a character. all of a sudden, like, Tai grabs him and says, "What do you think you're doing? Fighting is not going to be a thing." Because I can just generally imagine that if it's like, "Oh yeah, this should destroy anything," he would punch him in the face and just be like, "Come on then," and the guy's like going, "Well, hang on a minute. Why are you attacking me? Why are you doing this?" Now Tai has calmed Matt down and said, "Look, there's no point, you know, they have nothing to do with this." And he says, like, "Are we cool? We're cool." So, previously at this point then, Sora turns in and says, "Hey, guys, we should meet after school and just kind of like talk about what's going on." This is another point that annoyed me in the film. So everyone meets under this bridge. Don't know why a bridge, you kind of think maybe a house, maybe something where people can talk about it. It gets too dark again, as in like you can't see what's going on most of the time with the animation, and that's really annoyed me. They all start talking, Izzy lays down some knowledge, and Matt starts losing his temper. And Ty's being really cool about it. He's like, he's chilled out, but you kind of know what's coming up later on. But Matt just gets really angry at Ty constantly and just loses his cool, and it really, again, annoys me, considering if you say one bad thing, "I just don't think I like Digimon." As Matt and Ty have just like walked off, TK and Cory say they're going to calm them down. Now, they all start talking about Joe, because again, Joe's not turned up and he's not been there. So they start saying like, "Oh yeah, we've all got to have time." And Joe's like, "Oh, well, I've not got any time because I've got to study. You know, I don't even have time for my girlfriend." And everyone just has that, "Whoa!" It's like, hang on a minute, you've got a girlfriend, and they're like going at it, and he's like, "Yeah, why shouldn't I? You know, I'm a high school student. I should be able to have girlfriends." You know, and everyone just doesn't believe him. And it's like, you guys just don't believe me. And like, yeah, we've got to say, we've got to say that we believe him. Yeah. And he's like, "I can hear that. You don't believe me?" And I just thought it was a really nice touch. Like, after the whole tense moment, they kind of relieved it with a bit of comedy, and I really found it funny. So the girls all go off for food, and it's quite funny because when they do, they're like, "Oh, how will the Digimon blend in?" And then all of a sudden you just see Palamon in her kind of like a disguise, but then you see Garurumon and Biyomon being animals, like, you know, blending in. Biyomon's like pecking the floor and Garumon's like kind of cleaning herself. And I kind of thought these were quite funny in a way. You decide to get food, and you kind of think that because two of them, Garurumon and Palamon, they're like, they could digivolve into human form effectively. They would look a little bit like humans, but they could like hide the wings, or they could hide stuff, but they could pass generally as humans, or they could be cosplaying. Apart from Biyomon, Biyomon would just have to be a disguise or something. Inside the restaurant they're eating, and Mimi brings up a question of saying, "Hey, the guys are really cute from what they used to be. Who do you find cuter, Sora, Matt or Ty?" And there's no answer. And then the Digimon kind of chime in and go, "We don't know what cute is or cuter, but you know, which one's foxy?" And then they start asking, "Which one do you find foxier?" And then the whole conversation just kind of drops down because Sora's like, "Oh, I see Mako, she's walking past the window. Yeah, I'm gonna go, oh, and I'll get you guys more cola and more food." And it switches to Matt and Ty at the school. They're wondering what's been going on and wondering if their teacher's gonna be there to get more answers from him. In this, we get a lot of information about what's happened, why the Digimon are coming back in, and what's going on. Effectively, what we're seeing is that the Digimon that come through the portal in not the good way are being infected, and it's driving them crazy and making them not think about things. Genai has contacted them and is working, and Matt and Ty are like, "Genai? Oh my god!" And you kind of think that there would have been a really nice kind of reunion at some point. So then the teacher starts talking about more into what's going on, how that this Genai has got a lot of information on the kids and what's going on in general. And we're getting these small cuts, and it just generally annoys me. We're back at the organization, they start turning around and talking about a few things, and suddenly they get kind of cut off, and then a phone call saying, "Hey, we have more information on the Digidestined," and that they're all caught up. Again, now we have more kind of comedy, and where Izzy and TK are talking about going clothes shopping, that Izzy now needs to dress himself and needs to buy things rather than getting his mum to do it. With this in hand, Izzy has created this program that basically takes, like, scans your body or takes a photo of you and then kind of like mixes and matches clothes, or says this is the sort of style that you would look good in. Izzy can't talk to the girls at the shop because he just gets really embarrassed, and Tentamon just like kicks up and goes, like, starts joking and like ribbing a little bit. And it's kind of a nice little touch to it. And he starts crying for some strange reason, like, "Oh, the day that I never would have thought. Oh no! Oh, is he dressing himself? Oh!" And Padamon's like, "Don't cry, it's fine." More segments that could have been edited better. Tai and Agumon are on the beach. We then jump to Matt in the bedroom with Gobblemon, and he's turning around saying, everyone's changed. You know, I hope everyone doesn't change. Maybe Tai's changed as well. That's pretty much the entire scene, and then just switches to another one. Now, this scene really annoys me because Agumon doesn't help whatsoever. Tai asks a really important question and goes, right, you know, everyone's changing. Should I change? Should I do this? Should I do that? What's your thoughts? And Agumon just says, well, I know that you'll choose the right decision. And I'm like, oh God, a little bit more of this would be perfect. You know, rather than just, yeah, you can do it, buddy. You can do it. No, I want answers. I want to know what's going on. Tai talks about the damage and they have a hug. And that's it. That's pretty much it. More flashbacks probably. Kari, TK, Agumon and Tai are all now approaching Izzy's office. And dear God, is it a cool office. Mimi joins in and she's like, wow, this office is amazing. And generally, it would be like a YouTuber's dream office, I think. Just the amount of space and the amount of cool stuff that's in there. Izzy then turns around and says, I've made this thing, it's called like a digital room, so the Digimon can go hang in so that they can be in close range, and everyone's really excited about it. TK rings Matt and says, hey, you've got to sort your shit out. You know, this feud with Tai is just getting boring, you need to really sort this out with them. That's, again, another cutaway scene, or a scene that doesn't need to be in at all. Famous goggles are now back, and Izzy has made an adjustment to them. So if Tai puts them on, he can then see data streams. He can see different colours to pretty much show if there's going to be a concentration of like a Digimon coming through. The more red, the danger is, that's when a breach comes through, and that's when the Digimon will appear. And then if it's kind of like there's hardly anything of just smaller colours, they're absolutely fine. There's nothing going on there. But the Digimon need to be in a place, if they need to be called, it has to be a good internet connection, and there also has to be enough processing power. Like mobile phones won't work, but laptops will, and that's pretty much it. And we all know that Izzy just carries his laptop everywhere with him. They all now bump into Miko, who's looking for her cat. Yeah, you kind of guessed it as soon as she said it's kind of a cat, you kind of guessed what's going on, but I won't spoil it until the end, or you've probably figured it out by now. So they all decide to go kind of like around and like help look for it, and then all of a sudden they go for food. Well, Tiger's like, I'm really hungry, so we're gonna go look in here. Joe again has failed and needs to go in and learn more. I think he has to go back on a certain day to actually study and redo an exam. Mako now has turned around and said, I'm now going to go. I'm going to go look for my cat. You guys have fun. And everyone's like, are you sure we can help out? She said, no, you go. You go fine. Tai brings up this whole thing of saying, hey, you know, I can only see what's in front of me. How about if we get higher up? I can see what's going on and we'll be able to take the entire city on. There are no hills in the area, so they decide to go on a Ferris wheel. And that's when Matt and Gobblemon turn up and they're like, oh, you know, hey guys, you finally get to join us. And Gobblemon's like, yeah, we should join them. Matt's like, no, I'm fine. Gobblemon's like, well, I don't care what you think. I am going to go on the ride myself. The guys have all said that they want to get Matt and Tai talking again. So what do? They force them in their own carriage to go around like a romantic getaway. The conversation starts up with, you know, you've got to pull your finger out again, you know, what your situation? And Tai's like, oh, well, I just don't want to see damage. And Matt's like, no, come on, you have to fight. So they kind of talk a little bit more about it, and then all of a sudden Matt says, hey, I see that you're breaking out the goggles again. Why are you doing this? And Tai's like, oh, holy crap! Yeah, you just reminded me. They look out the window and they see there's a whole load of kind of red swirly things, and it's boom, another portal and another Digimon. Now, to anyone else, this looks like a normal storm that's kicked up. There's water, there's rain, there's wind, and everyone is evacuated from this kind of theme park or this kind of like shopping mall, whatever. They're kind of evacuated from the area. And this is when another Digimon pops in. Izzy identifies the Digimon as Alphamon, and there's no data, just the fact of a picture and that there's an entry, and that's about it, nothing more. Miko finds her cat, who is called Mikomon. That's a generally interesting name. Alphamon just attacks. Then Tai and Matt come running in with their Digimon, and they're like, yeah, come on! Okay, so now, again, we have this entire whole thing of Tai remembering shit and being scared and not doing anything. In the meantime, Gobelmon digivolves to Garurumon and goes and attacks. And this is when the others join in. We see Palamon digivolve to Togemon, and we also see Angemon, and then they all attack, but their attacks aren't doing anything, and Alphamon's just knocking them back, like, no, no, no. Matt then gives the whole like kind of speech to Tai and says like, come on, you have to think this, and Tai is just stuck in this, what do I do? How do I do this? What's going on? It's generally slightly annoying, let's say that. But in the end, yeah, Tai gets over it, and then Agumon digivolves, and then this whole like kind of evolution starts kicking in. So it goes like Greymon, Metal Greymon, War Greymon, Garurumon, Ware-Garurumon, etc, etc, and then they digivolve together to make Omnimon. A fight between Omnimon and Alphamon kicks in, and it's really cool. It lasts for a while, and I really enjoyed it. But at this point, again, Tai is remembering the damage, and again, it's just, I can understand it a little bit, but it just feels like this is the whole thing that should have carried on, and it just generally annoys me. At this point, it looks like Omnimon is using all the power into this kind of focal blast. You kind of think parts of him just start disappearing and disintegrate, and I kind of thought, oh, is he doing it all? Is he going to do his whole thing of here's the blast, that's it? But no, it's actually quite cool. As Omnimon is doing his final attack, Alphamon kind of steps back into the portal and just disappears. The blast goes off and boom! Is there a lot of damage? Yes, there is. It looks like Goku's just done a Kamehameha right through the city, and I was like, oh, that's not going to work well for Tai! Oh no! Miko joins up with all the others, and they're all like, hey, you found your cat, didn't realise it was Digimon. She holds up a Digivice and says, yeah, I've got one of these too, and looks like I'm one of you. They all welcome her into being a Digidestined and say, welcome to the family. And that's pretty much where it just ends. It just ends with them talking a little bit and then closing down, and that's it. And the credits roll, and we see some nice sprite animation of like the Digimon and the partners, and then we get like a closing credit scene, which I thought was quite interesting. And it's Matt and Tai. They're looking at like all the damage that's gone on, and Matt is still a douche, and it annoys the shit out of me because he just goes up to Tai and goes, so have you made up your mind yet? And Tai just doesn't answer for a while, just doesn't say anything. And Matt goes like, I see that you've made your mind up, and just walks away. And I'm like, can you not give him a little bit more time? Or just say, look, step in front of him rather than stepping beside him, going like, so what you've chosen? Oh, it just kind of annoys me, but I kind of see Tai just seeing what's going on. This is damage. This isn't something in the digital world where it may not have a large effect, but in the real world, it is. And that's it. That's it. It just fades to black, and we're all done. And I really enjoyed this. Now, the good parts are I loved the story. The story was really interesting, and it was really nice seeing all the characters back, interacting, being friends again, and having that kind of struggle where it's not just a, you know, all happy this is going on. There are consequences, whatever they do. But I really like the fact that the Digimon came back, and then they were hugging and they were being friends, and it felt like, yeah, it felt like, I think probably second season where they're out in the real world. I think it's that second season or first, because when I keep thinking second season, I keep thinking of Davis and all that. I would have really have liked the explanation of Davis and the crew when they've been falling, where they've been attacked. That to me is something that I would have liked to have them explained. Now, I probably didn't say it at the very beginning, but there is a kind of a flash of a Digimon that looked like a Gundam, and I'm guessing that's Alphamon. Maybe he's done something to destroy the second lot of Digidestined. Who knows? This is one thing that I kind of thought would have been a lot better and a bit more explained. I like the connection between Gomamon and Joe. I just kind of wish that scene was longer. And I kind of like the secrecy a little bit, kind of making me think, I really want to know more. So this is something that I'm looking forward to for the next lot, for the next few films that they keep bringing out. Now, the bad part, I have to say, some of the animations, there was no defining features against some of the characters. Now, going back to the point where Joe was in the library where I thought I saw Izzy, he looked just like Izzy, and I thought, oh crap, you know, he's now there. There was no kind of, you wouldn't be able to tell because everyone looked very similar. If it wasn't for something like Ty's hair, I wouldn't know that I was Ty. Kari I always know because of the kind of hairdo. But when it came to Matt, when the first scene for Matt talking to Sora, I wouldn't have thought that was Matt because I imagined him, from what I remember, with bigger hair, and it just, it just nothing. If TK didn't wear his hat, again, I would have just thought generic character, but it was these sorts of traits that I recognized from the previous like anime compared to now, which kind of like, Now, the biggest part was the darkness of the animation, where it wasn't lit up. It just felt like it was so dark that you either had to wait until night to watch it to be able to get some glimpse, or the fact is that you'd have to put the contrast. Now, if they do more, I would really wish that would be kind of sorted and done differently, rather than just, oh wait, I have to squint, I have to close the curtains, I have to watch this, I can't see it. And it just generally annoyed the crap out of me. Now we're coming to the subtitles. The subtitles annoyed me a little bit because they were all based off the Japanese track. So when looking at it, because obviously some Digimon's name I had to spell it on some of the characters in case I missed it, I wanted to know what was said, but it just felt like it was a generic, oh, you know, it's completely different. Like, it just didn't match up whatsoever, and that kind of frustrated me to a little bit. I just wanted something a little bit different, but again, I kind of wish there was two tracks. There was obviously the audio for the Japanese, which it would have read off, and then obviously the American stroke English version, where it would have said, okay, this is properly. So you could say subtitles in Japanese or subtitles in English, so you could actually get a proper knowledge of what's going on. But apart from that, it just felt really weird. But give it a go. If you genuinely want to see it, it doesn't match up and it just feels weird. Some of the words that they say compared to some of the meanings, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Now, it does have extras. That one is an interview with the English cast, and it's really cool. It's really nice to just listen to what they say, and then it feels like it's a nice addition to it. I really liked what they were saying, like how they meet fans, how like some fans embrace the new and the old, and that was really cool. And then there's a reunion thing, which I thought, oh, okay, it's gonna have all the Digimon, and they're gonna ask questions like, what was it like compared to seeing it from the show to now? But no, it was just a party. They showed like a 3 to 4 minute clip of the party of people going, I won a prize, woo, Digimon, and that's it. So there we go, Rangers. There is my review of Digimon Adventure Tri. I really enjoyed this, and it brought a lot of memories back to me. It was weird because when it was like Biyomon, and it was like Biyomon Digivolves 2, I was like, I know the name. Or it's like Palmon, when Palmon goes like, Palmon Digivolves 2 Togemon, I was like, I knew it, I still know the names deep down. Yes! And I was still hoping that they would shout out their attacks like Pepper Breath, I would have loved it. It really brought back a lot of memories and my love for Digimon, and I really liked it. I know that the anime has kind of like changed slightly from when it was like Fusion, I think, or Fusion X. It just, it didn't feel like Digimon, but this one I'm glad it did. This brought back a lot of memories and I really like it. So I'm going to put all the links to where you can pre-order this. Definitely worth checking out, guys. Seriously, if you're a long-time Digimon fan, this is definitely worth it. The animation could have been slightly different because it looked a little bit blurry at times, but apart from that, absolutely loved it. Thought it was great. So Rangers, your main question is, what do you think of Digimon? Did you like the film? Did you not? Let me know down below in the comments, and if you've liked this video, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the other videos on the channel, and as always, Rangers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.
What are you thinking about, Izzy?
Nothing. Forget it.
You're falling in love with me, aren't you? Because I came back looking so hot.
What? Stop doing that.